So, 2017. What a year. Remakes, reboots, reimaginings. You could almost say like Hollywood has run out of ideas? But thankfully not. No, no. Despite all the repackaging that we had to sift through, there was more than enough of original material to keep us satisfied. And overall, I would say 2017 was once again a really, really good year for cinema. As you may have noticed, I am doing things a little different this year because of, well, time constraints, I suppose. I have watched an upwards of nearly 40 movies this year. To cram all of that into a single video would just be too much. Too much for me to do, too much for anyone bothering to watch this to, well, watch. And so, of course, I'm splitting this into several parts. One of which I hope is actually kind of unexpected because I didn't think about it until I was starting to do this, and I'm just curious to see what I come up with in it. So, wait and find out what that is. I hope you enjoyed it. Also, yes, special little footnote. I am excluding The Greatest Showman from this because I do have a premeditated plan, haha, how sinister, to watch it on New Year's Eve. Of course, by that point, it'll be too late to record something like this. Again, time restraints. Wow, time, it just gone. So, no Greatest Showman in any of these lists. I have no idea where it would rank in the first place. The trailers look amazing, and I probably would put it either in my top 10s, hoping, or somewhere just in the middle mark. Either or, it looks fun. I will check it out. Put it as my 11th, 11th top in the meantime. So, without further ado, I've rambled on long enough about nothing. Let's ramble on about some movies. So this was an improvement after Minions. Not much of an improvement, but an improvement nonetheless. But yeah, I can't really say much about this movie except that it's not as good as the first two. The second one set the standard so high for the series that any follow-up movie would probably struggle to keep a pace, but it feels like this one isn't even trying. As far as the main plot is concerned, the little side stories, if you could call them, involving the family, because the whole thing is split between Gru and his brother doing stuff, and then his family doing stuff, and then even there it's subdivided into their own little bits. Those little bits, those are great. Those are fun. Those are funny. Those invoke the feeling that this series has given throughout the first two movies. Minions was a complete waste of space and time, and the less said the better. But yeah. So it was okay. It was okay. The best part though, the best part is the villain. Balthazar Brat is absolutely hilarious, and every scene he's in, he steals it. So much so that I think it even undermines Gru a bit. Gru just, I don't know, he doesn't shine nearly as well as he does in the first couple of movies. Or rather, he doesn't shine hard enough not to be overshadowed by literally everything else, except his brother. His brother is even worse. So in terms of pecking order, it's his brother, him, and then literally everything else. And Balthazar on top, laughing at all of them. Yeah. Check it out if you want. Don't if you don't. You're not missing much. I sincerely wish that this was not a remake. I really do, because if it was its own original film, if it was called literally anything else, it would have been a decent flick. A bit generic, a bit derivative, and convoluted to boot, but interesting enough to get itself a pass. Such as it is, though, it ends up being an inferior copy that nobody wanted, nobody asked for, and very few people cared for post-release. I am not one of those people. Ghost in the Shell borrows some stuff from the original movie, and ironically enough, as my little bit of post-watching research went, a bit from the extended universe, bit from the TV series, from the standalone complex. It's kind of funny to realize that there's that moment when you know, holy shit, they pulled from two sources and they still fucked it up. But yeah, no, I want to like it, and on its own, it's decent. It's okay. It's not terrible by any means. It's got some amazing, there's some truly amazing visuals. It does well with its budget. I mean, honestly, I can tell that the budget has gone into the visuals more than anything else. But when you look away from the pretty scenery and you start listening and you start to really watch and think, the whole thing just falls flat on its face, and the entire time it just keeps dragging its face across the asphalt, leaving bloody trails and amusing literally nobody. So honestly, go watch the original instead. Go watch the TV series. Go immerse yourself in the original universe of Ghost in the Shell. Skip this, avoid it, just don't bother. I wish it was anything else, but it's not, so I bet as soon as you read the title, you have already made up your mind whether or not you're watching this. What else can I really say? I mean, as far as base premises go, we're at the beginning, with Ash just getting into his Pokemon training days, getting his Pikachu, going through a somewhat abridged version of the first few episodes of the original series, albeit with different friends that he meets along the way, and somehow having a Alolan Pokemon in Kanto, which is really weird. I didn't get that. But anyway, current generation movie set in the first generation setting. What can you do? The big whole hook of the whole thing is that we are finally getting somewhere with that whole feather that Ash got back at the end of the first episode of the original series. That's all I'm gonna say. Anything more is gonna be spoilers. But either way, literally, as I said before, as soon as you read the title, you know whether or not you're gonna watch this. So, I mean, yeah. Don't get me wrong, I actually had plenty of fun with Baywatch, honestly. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, as always, delivers a stellar performance. Zac Efron was actually... he's in his element. I mean, it was Zac Efron being Zac Efron. I'm sorry, he's a funny guy, but he has zero range. Or is it just me? It's probably just me. Yeah. Anyway, nothing against the guy. Funny in this movie. The cast, in general, just doing a pretty bang-up job with what they've given. But at the same time, though, a lot of humor is so awkward. I mean, it's the kind of humor that's relying on the awkwardness to carry it through. And it doesn't always carry it through. And when it doesn't, so awkward. So yeah, it's like junk food. You enjoy it at the time, but then the diarrhea after makes you regret it. But you know you're gonna come back to it anyway, despite the diarrhea, because of that glorious junky taste. You know, it's completely unhealthy, but tastes amazing. So yeah, fun but dumb. I would recommend to check it out, honestly, just the one time, just to see. Although, honestly, there's not much there for people who want a good movie, I suppose. If you just want to laugh your ass off at the dumbest stuff, go for it. And of course, you know, the other reasons. But yeah, check it out if you want. Don't if you don't. Again, you're probably not missing much, but with a bunch of friends, in the background or at the party, you're gonna have a bang up time, I suppose. A harmless little made for kids movie that adults won't find much in, I suppose. Yeah, yeah. It is so unremarkable. I guess that's what I was looking for. Unremarkable that I can't even really complain about it. I mean, yeah, it is at the bottom, towards the bottom of my list. It is where it is because of what it is, but it is again utterly harmless that I just can't hate it with any sort of passion or anything. So skip this one. Don't bother unless you have little kids who need to be distracted for an hour and a half. Yeah, moving on. Moving on. So, we're finally here. The last of the Bayformers, huh? I wonder what's gonna happen next. I mean, let's face it, everybody watches these. We complain, we moan, we bitch about them, about the quality, about the boredom, about the length, about the excessive explosions, about Transformer designs that just where's the head? But we still go, we still watch them, and the cycle begins anew every time a new Bayformers comes out. But now the cycle is over. Base stepping down, somebody new is gonna come on in a couple of years to make another one of these, to follow up on I don't want to give spoilers, but this movie went for the season finale of the Prime cartoon. For those people who watch it, the first season's finale. That's what this movie went for. As in, wow, holy shit, that was legitimately great, honestly. But other than that, yeah, it's the same kind of hit or miss humor they have. It's a whole lot of action with little real payoff. It's sort of tries to be all intense and failing miserably, honestly, because there's literally no tension in these. The bigger the set pieces, the more boring they seem to be. I mean, it's amazing how boring this movie has made its big, climactic, final smash of good versus evil, man versus creation, or Transformer versus creation, rather. I mean, the stakes couldn't be higher. The tension couldn't be more palpable, and I couldn't be more bored, honestly. Yeah, I will watch it again, obviously. I don't recommend it, obviously. So let's move on to the next one, shall we? Bring on Flashpoint. Hit that reset button hard. Let Ben Affleck get out of this train wreck with whatever little dignity he has left. He honestly deserves it. The poor man wants to get out. Every scene he's in, he looks like he wants to either get out or shoot himself in the face. And I understand why. Every moment I want to reach out and just pat him on the back and go, it's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. But then at the same time, I feel like a liar because, oh my god, he's gonna be remembered for something worse than Daredevil. Wow. And I love that movie. I love Daredevil. Daredevil Director Scott was amazing. I don't know what people are complaining about. It's perfect. But anyway, Justice League. Total train wreck. Total train wreck and heading into a shit pile on a sinking ship, sinking into the bottomless pit that is there at the bottom of the ocean or something. I'm bad at analogies, but my point was they had one chance, one last opportunity to make this work, to show us that Wonder Woman was not the only good movie that they could put out because they literally put somebody from outside of the usual circle of involvement into it. And no, they blew it. It went up in smoke. The whole extended universe up in smoke. A complete and total disaster. I could go on rambling, but let's just say the acting absolutely wooden. Literally nobody looked like they wanted to be in that movie. The story oh my god, the story was just the story was non-existent. The story was a set piece after set piece with little no segue in between each, or into each, I suppose. No weaving. There was no weaving of the narrative. That was just jumping from one plot point to the next, and the very obvious bits of reshooting, the very obvious bits of absolute butchering they had to do to the movie to make it, I don't know, palatable to the audience, just made it that much worse. Don't bother. Just save yourself the trouble. Watch Wonder Woman again. Hell, you know what? Watch Batman vs Superman: The Ultimate Cut again, because that honestly is better. Wow. You've got to feel sorry for a film from a washed-up franchise based around a character who himself is quite, well, washed up. Yes, so we're at this point now. Jack Sparrow is no longer even close to the man that everyone came to know and love and adore and all that good stuff. He is quite literally at the bottom of the barrel at this point. And so when a big grandiose adventure pops his way, you've got to wonder, why? Why? Nobody cares. Nobody cares anymore. In the films, nobody cares about Jack Sparrow anymore. In the real life, nobody cares about Pirates of the Caribbean anymore. It really makes one sad. This is one of my favorite movie franchises ever. Dead Man's Chest, one of my favorite movies ever. I mean, most people would argue that Curse of the Black Pearl was better. No. Dead Man's Chest is still the best movie in the series. At the end, at World's End was fun. Good way to finish off that sort of trilogy of stories. And on Stranger Tides, despite its strange beats, was actually pretty fun and entertaining. But this, oh, wow. How do I describe this? This is like visiting your ailing grandparent. Yeah, you still love them. You do. You want to visit them, but every time you do, they just slip that much further away from what you remembered them to be. And at certain point, you just wonder why they're even hanging on. Wow, I made this so depressing. But the point is that it is depressing. I was depressed this entire movie. I was bored and I was depressed at how bored I was. It's amazing. Yeah, wow, I don't even have words for it. Don't bother. Cut it off at Stranger Tides or even at World's End if you want to. That's the perfect way to end the whole thing. Keep those three close to your heart, in your mind. Keep those memories of how amazing and great this franchise was once in there, and just move on. There's a reason I have no interest in horror movies these days. Because these days, the general formula to follow is great big long boring slogs punctuated by some offbeat jump scares that get you because your guard goes down. Your guard gets eroded by the boredom, so that to the point where even though the jump scare should not get you and wouldn't normally get you, it still gets you because boo, right? Nothing, 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 boo. Ugh, whatever. And yes, Annabelle Creation is exactly that movie. 90% of it is just dull, absolutely dull. The rest is split between jump scares and actually an interesting sort of bit of supernatural backstory telling. Yeah, not. I don't know if I should go too much into spoiler territory. I mean, right off the bat, don't bother. It's not worth it. But this and I obviously haven't watched any other Annabelle movies, but from what I gathered, this kind of retcons Annabelle's origin story. So there's that, I suppose. And it is an interesting one. It's that usual classic evil thing inhabiting the place, anchored to this doll and all that good stuff, and the usual shenanigans that ensue. No, I mean, yes, there was one time it actually kind of caught me off guard, legitimately, this movie, but that was just the one time. Yeah. Other than that, it was, I wouldn't bother with it again. Honestly, does not make me watch any other of the Conjuring movies or anything like that. This has me with leaves me, I should say, with no interest to watch this again, to recommend it to anybody or anything like that. If you are a fan of the Conjuring series, go for it. I suppose you'll find something there. If you like these kind of movies, go for it. You'll probably find something there. It's fun. It's kind of fun to go with someone who does scare easily, because watching their reaction is honestly the most entertaining part of the movie. I went with my girlfriend. She jumped at everything. It was hilarious. But no, don't bother. Just don't. Absolutely the worst movie of the year. Completely and totally irredeemable, except for one solitary thing, maybe two. There's of course McAvoy, who is the centerpiece of the whole shebang, and wow, that man gives his all here, his all. He delivers a range of acting that you seldom see, usually, from an actor, and within the same movie. Oh, wow! I mean, wow! it's honestly impressive. In any other movie, I would applaud him incessantly. I mean, even now, I'll just applause, because again, he is the one and only redeemable feature of this flick. Everything else, complete horseshit. Complete, utter, unbelievably stupid, forced, and just nonsensical horseshit. Except for again, I guess that's the second thing, but it's more like a little side note of a thing. It bears almost no relevance to the rest of the film. It could be its own little film of its own, because there's this flashback sequence you get throughout the film, and it in itself tells a separate story, and that story is more interesting than this one, because this story is an absolute just what did Chucky say? What a crock. What a crock this movie is. What a crock to think that anytime after Unbreakable that Shyamalan could finally do something amazing. What a crock. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Shyamalan's last great movie was Unbreakable. It's a fact. It's a fact. My fact, I suppose. So it's my opinion, but my general opinion is that Unbreakable was the last great movie. After that, he just went downhill. He might have made some possible things, but this was this supposed to be his big comeback? Was this supposed to be the one where he can say, "Yes, I made a great one again"? No, it's not. It absolutely is not. It is a complete and total waste of time. So much so, while I was watching this movie, while I was watching this movie, I wished I was watching Monster Trucks instead. That's how bad it was. I mean, I hate to be vague here, but I can't really discuss this movie without spoiling everything about it, and especially this movie is like that annoying kid where you just think it can't get any more annoying, and it annoys you that much more. Because just when I thought I couldn't be more pissed at this waste of space and time, it it absolutely blew my mind by absolutely how much I rage-inducingly hate it. It made me hate it more than any movie in recent memory. Absolutely the worst movie of the year. Again, not worth anybody's time. Watch maybe McAvoy's little multi-personality shtick on YouTube if you can find those clips. Don't fucking bother. Just do not fucking bother. Stay away. Whew. That was that was actually hard to do. Wow. I've never done a dedicated list of movies I hated this year before. This is a first for me, and I'll be honest, I kind of hated it. Because I hate to come up with reasons I don't like a movie. If I don't like a movie, I don't like it. And generally speaking, this list is mostly movies that were just not as good as others I've watched. They just got shoved down here. They're not terrible or completely irredeemable, except for Split. Split is the one movie I absolutely fucking hated this year, and that's it. That's it. It could have been just this one video. I could just go spoiler talk of Split about how much I hated, why I hated, just go through the entire thing and just to show how irredeemable it was. But that's it. The rest were either kind of flawed or dull at times, or not as engaging as the rest of the stuff I watched. Yeah, but I didn't really hate any of them. It's kind of annoying to try and think of a reason of why a movie's on your top worst list. I mean, I shouldn't have made it a worst. I should have said just my bottom whatever. Except for Split, that would be like the worst movie. But the rest are just here because pecking order, I suppose. And but yeah, no. I'll get better at this hopefully, but I usually try to find the fun stuff, the silver lining, the silver cloud in terms of movies. I wanna think about why I enjoyed a movie rather than why I did not enjoy it, But yeah, I guess the more I went down this list, the more obvious it became why these movies were down here. The first half of it was a lot more difficult because it was they were just they had to be here because the other movies were better. It's only when I got to the second half when I realized that it was much easier to talk about why the movies sucked, because they sucked, right? Sucking is not the same as not being as good as something else. So anyway, I'm glad to have this over, done with. Enough rambling from me. I'm off to do the next one of these. Hopefully I'll pull them up soon. Hopefully I'll be done before the end of the year. Haha. Happy New Year and good night.